Hi folks, welcome back to the Lowland Catchup, and as of today you'll notice it's myself, Derek, leading the way again. Chris is just having a wee midweek off, he'll be back for the weekend, but I am joined as always by Shaun. How you doing, Shaun?
Good, thanks. Mad rush to get home from Edinburgh to record this one, but I did manage to make it in time, so glad to be here. How you doing?
I'm very well, mate, very well. Love of the pod, not just love of the game, love of the pod.
Absolutely.
But it's unusual for us to do a midweek session, and the reason we're on is because there was a full slate of games this week in the Lowland, including some season debuts for a couple of the clubs, and we're going to start with one of them. Probably the big story going into this season, Berwick Rangers. Having come down from League 2, they got their campaign on the go, and they were at home to one of the other new clubs in the league, Bonnyrigg Rose, who have gone the opposite direction. Basically, they've came up from the East of Scotland League, having been in the juniors just a couple of years back. Really interesting tie in the face of it, and I believe you're going to run us through it, Shaun.
It was Berwick that welcomed Bonnyrigg for the midweek fixture. Obviously, like you say, it was their opening Lowland League fixture after they were finishing up in the Betfred Cup, and it was definitely an interesting challenge for them with them welcoming the East of Scotland champions up. So it was one that we obviously picked as our sort of midweek game of the week, if you like, purely just because of the backstory behind it. You know, your promoted team against your relegated team. So it was a pretty good start for Berwick as they were able to open the scoring after 9 minutes through Rose. The original tweet that I saw caused me a bit of confusion there because I couldn't understand who had actually scored, if it was Rose or Berwick, the way it came up. But it was a young Berwick boy, Rose, that actually opened the scoring. They managed to hold on to that 1-0 lead, that first goal, that competitive goal that they've had in quite some time, for 20 minutes before McGawkey was able to pull one back for Bonnyrigg to make it one each. 2 minutes later, Hunter was able to slot another one in for Bonnyrigg, followed by a second goal for McGawkey after a further 2 minutes. So in the space of 4 minutes, Bonnyrigg were able to change it to a 3-1 scoreline, and 3 minutes later it was Curry that put the ball into the back of the net for Bonnyrigg's fourth to make it 4-1. Berwick looked like they might have mounted a wee bit of a comeback after that, as Healy was able to pull one back to make it 4-2 before Waugh was able to make it 3-4. But Bonnyrigg, through a Curry goal, was on the 69th minute, were able to sort of put the game to bed and make it 5-3, and that was the eventual outcome of the game. So I think I saw a tweet from Chris, who's obviously not here today, that said that the game was definitely worth the £10 fee to get in, which I thought was quite a funny wee tweet that went out from the Lowland League Catchup after we've given them a bit of stick for their ticket prices, but you're averaging just over £1 a goal there, which isn't too bad value if you really think about it. But yeah, Bonnyrigg continue their winning streak, can you call it that? They've played 2 games in the Lowland League and they've won both, and we a win on the road here. So yeah, Bonnyrigg now on 6 points, and unfortunately for Berwick, they opened their account with a loss. What did you make of the result?
Well, first things first, a streak sounds better than a double, so let's just go with a streak, shall we? I'm sure Rose will be happy enough with that, but I didn't really know what to make of this game beforehand, and I don't think any result either way would have surprised me. It just gives us an idea where these two clubs actually are going into the kind of longer campaign. But there's a bit of positives in there for Berwick, I'd suggest. It kind of, on the face of it, I saw a lot of their fans quite upset on Twitter and on social media, saying obviously how kind of what's happened to the club. We're now losing to ex-junior sides, and kind of what direction are we going in. But realistically, when they've cobbled together their squad so late in the day and have had some really tough games in the Betfred, really, like for a young squad getting put together at the last minute, some real morale denting results against bigger sides. The most important thing is they've got the goals, so they've got that monkey off their back. And I know it's Darryl Healy who's one of them. He's a guy that we've picked out already, saying that they're relying on him to get the ball in the back of the net. So that's a positive side. The flip side of that, and probably the main positive for Bonnyrigg, is the fact that 5 goals went in the other end. And we mentioned that they'd struggled in terms of conceding goals in the League Cup games. It looks like that's carried over as of now. So Ian Little's got a fair bit of work to do, obviously, in the defence and set piece defending, all that kind of thing. But it's got to be seen as a massive positive for Rose that they've come up against an established club, a really kind of well-known, well-respected club in Scottish football. They've shown that they're not here to be messed around. We didn't really know how to place them in the pre-season kind of preview podcast. With that result, I suggest that you've got to put them up there with a chance of getting into the kind of the title challenge, I guess. But obviously, that's a far too early prediction. It's just you've got to give them the respect it's due when they've gone to Berwick and on a away day midweek and put 5 goals in the back of the net.
No, you can't really argue with it. I think don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and start previewing games already, but I think this weekend when they make a trip along to play Civil, Strollers are going to be a good test, and I think that'll be a good sort of mark up of where they are sitting, because I think we're still a bit unsure. Yeah, we said we were a bit unsure about Bonnyrigg in the preview, and we were the same with Berwick, so it's still a bit of, we're a bit of clarity after a couple of games, but we've got to really see how these teams fare against the teams that we kind of know how they are from last season. But yeah, Bonnyrigg must be chuffed with the start that they've made.
Yeah, totally agree. It'll be the same with Berwick. We'll need to give them another game or two just to really assess them, I think. But you can be sure Robbie Horne enjoyed beating his old side, especially the way that happened for him when he went up to the SPFL. So well done to Robbie and Bonnyrigg getting their first Lowland win. And I'm sure Berwick's will follow in the not too distant future as well. But after that, next game we're going to look at was Vale of Leven, Chris Anderson's side, playing host to Gala Ferrydean Rovers. And both of them basically looking to get moving. I know it's early doors, but still kind of chasing the first 3 points. And I think we all expected quite a close game in this one. So the end result was a bit of a surprise, certainly to me anyway. It all started early doors, first 10 minutes. Gala had 2 goals straight away. So it was Aitchison getting on the score sheet first, and then straight after, Danny Galbraith making it 2-0. And it seemed to be pretty deserved, from what David Knox was saying, who's quite a well-known kind of Borders football fan. They were very impressive early doors, and they had to wait till around about the half-hour mark after that. They won a penalty, just as the game began to settle down and go each way, and Galbraith essentially at that point ended the contest, made it 3-0, because Vale started throwing bodies forward desperately, trying to get a goal back before half-time. It didn't happen, and into the second half, despite the fact they actually had some good football early doors, it was 4-0 within the hour mark. And bear with me, apologies for the pronunciation. You can tell me I've got it wrong later on. Livy Kinchant managed to get the goal. Apologies, Livy, if that's wrong. But 4-0, cruising at that stage. Leven did get a goal back through Brad, but it still ended in the same way it started for Gala. They managed to get the ball in the net again. It was offside. Just about 20 minutes to go, and Phil Addison closed it off to make it 5-1 with a bit of a stunner, a free kick, all told in the kind of last 10 minutes. If you want to have a view of it, is on Gala's Twitter, at Ferrydean Rovers. They've retweeted somebody who took a video clip of the free kick, and it's well worth looking out for. A bit of an eye-opening result, especially given that Vale were at home. We kind of expected them to do alright in this one, so what do you think of that, Shaun?
I think it was a surprising one. I think we perhaps we were probably all a little harsh on Gala in our sort of pre-season assessment, and probably a bit too happy with the way Vale were looking, because it's kind of gone the other way. It seems like Gala look like they're ready for another season. I still think they'll struggle to finish at the same place that they did last year, but yeah, this is a really good result for them. I think when they went and got beat at the Netherdale off Cumbernauld, we all kind of thought we maybe got it quite right in our pre-season assessment. But yeah, they've gone and proved us wrong. I think a lot of people wrong with this result, and as for Vale, it's a disappointing result for those guys, because do you know what, I don't think they particularly want another season where they're hanging about at the foot of the table. We certainly had them pegged as a team that were going to make a push for a wee bit further up. You know, they're not going to be challenging this year, but we kind of expected them to do a little bit better, so definitely a bit disappointing to see them sitting on no points after their opening 2 fixtures.
Yeah, just a wee side note before we move on. I'm a huge fan of Gala's new loan signing, also being called Gala. They've just signed Eric Galantis on loan from Hibs on the development side, and the headline was Gala for Gala, which I'm always a fan of. So yeah, well done to Maxwell and the boys there, getting the first 3 points, and a very impressive performance all told as well. So next up after that, if you want to take us through the Caledonian Braves' first ever game at their new home at Alliance Park, home to Gretna.
This was a bit of a surprise team, I think, for the Lowland League this year. You know, one of the things that we spoke about at the beginning over pre-season was, we kept saying that word, and you hear it in a lot of other podcasts as well, continuity, and how important that was. And this team's just thrown that out the window. They've not just changed their team in many ways, but they've changed their team name, where they're playing. And you know what, we expected them to take some time to settle in, but they've made an absolutely fantastic start to the Lowland League campaign. As far as this game goes, they didn't make the best of starts. Their first reporting on the game came after 4 minutes, and it was a red card for Dom Slattery for a last man challenge, which kind of made you think, you know what, we're maybe going to have to write this game off a little bit, because they're probably going to get beat here, and you'll not be able to tell if it's because they went down to 10 men or if, you know, Gretna with a better team, because it just skews the game a little bit. However, they were able to keep things together, and the game was 0-0 for the first half an hour, and it was actually Gretna through Darnell Ramsey who were able to open to make it 1-0. It was a defensive slip that allowed the number 10 to slot the ball under Marshall to give Gretna 2008 and Chris Humphreys the 1-0 lead. However, it only lasted until the 41st minute, when, for Caledonian Braves, Blair Docherty with a left-footed strike from the edge of the box was able to just slot it into the top corner, which brought the game level to 1-1. Just before half-time, not content going in, drawing against 10 men, Gretna were able to put another one away. This time it was Darren Addison who was able to pinball into the 6-yard box, and he was able to prod it into an empty box. By the sounds of it, a little bit of a FIFA goal there, that one that you ended up falling out with your mate about. The second half got underway. There was a couple of bookings early on, couple of penalty shouts, but it was Caledonian Braves that were able to get their name on the score sheet first in the second half, and it was that man again, Blair Docherty, with his second. It was Ross McNeil that actually headed the ball and it hit off the bar. Neil McLaughlin follow-up saved by the keeper, but it rebounded straight into the foot of Docherty, who smashes it high into the net from inside the box to make it 2-2. So by this point you're thinking, Caledonian Braves are putting up a good fight here, but you know, you maybe expected a little bit for Gretna to maybe still edge and maybe get that third goal, and they did have their chances. There was some good saves by Marshall, but it was Caledonian Braves that were able to get that third goal, and it was Ross McNeil through onto the keeper, and he was able to coolly slot it past him into the bottom corner. In the last 20 minutes, both sides had their chances, but it was actually game, set and match for as far as goals go, and full-time result finished 3-2 to Braves, giving them this, 2 wins out of 2. I suppose sort of their opening campaign in the Lowland League, certainly for Caledonian Braves, and it complements their 6-0 victory in the opening match quite nicely. For the Gretna side of things, disappointing for Chris Humphreys' men, a team that we were kind of looking at, hoping to see a wee bit of magic this season. It's certainly not began yet, but it's still early days. Same as every other team in the league, we've got to wait and see how it pans out over the first sort of 5-6 games. But yeah, they'll be disappointed to have played probably around 90 minutes against 10 men and to have gone away with no points. What did you think of it? Caledonian Braves have made a pretty solid start, eh?
Do you know what? I've been very impressed, all told, with them, because we were texting each other, or I say texting, we were messaging each other last night when the games were on. Obviously, when you lose a man in 4 minutes, you fear the worst for them. But for them to come through and get 3 points, not just hold on to get a draw, but get 3 points and get 3 goals with 10 men pretty much whole game, is really impressive. Because it all seemed to be going wrong for them there, but fair play. Gretna will be disappointed to have taken the lead, that they've not been able to get something and take it back down the road. But it all seems to be clicking very early doors for the Braves. They've got a wee bit of momentum behind them. Obviously, you mentioned continuity's kind of out the window, but a lot of the players that they brought in early, or they've been there before, so they've got that in their favour. It's a different approach they've got this year, so it's basically a full kind of homegrown 11 be supplemented by the academy boys, whereas previously they've relied quite heavily on these guys that might not kind of have the exposure to the way Scottish football is, and that might have gone against them in previous years. So I think you've got to sit up and take notice and say, yeah, I might have underestimated you, and we'll see how the next games go, but Ricky's obviously got them raring to go, and team morale and kind of togetherness is obviously where it needs to be, because they've pulled together as a unit of 10 and came out with 3 points, so well done to them. The flip side there being, it's a little bit concerning for Gretna. I think that you've gone to a team where you probably would fancy your chances of getting something ordinarily. Then they've gone down to 10 that early. It's almost unforgivable not to take something away back home. I know it's a long journey, but I think Chris will be really disappointed to head down the road empty-handed there. And we'll see, like from the kind of Twitter feed and from the updates, we saw there was a lot of chances from either side. Sounded like Kev Conley had a couple of sights a goalkeeper managed to repel. Sound like the keepers had a decent game there, but this is what they were good at last year, losing games that they could have got something out of. You kind of want them to turn the page there.
Do you know what? I'm dead excited to see what Braves can do over the next few games, because it's just another really interesting story for the season ahead, I think.
Absolutely. Right, and that brings us to another controversial BSC Glasgow game. You'll be pleased to hear. So I was at the game, Spartans playing host to BSC. I took a good friend of mine, Tom, along as well, who it was his first ever Lowland League game, so that kind of helped me get a neutral point of view on it as well. But it was a strange game early doors. Basically, there wasn't too much action in the first 20 minutes. A couple of kind of nice passing moves either side, but both sides were struggling to find that final ball, that cutting edge. The first real chance was just on the 20-minute mark. There was a free kick 20 yards out. Ross Lindsay decided to step up for it and put it well over the bar. So that was his kind of one and only sighter before he went off as a sub. Other than that, really, the only kind of main chance I note in the first half was just about 5 minutes to half time. There was an underhit interception in defence for BSC. Spartans almost managed to get onto it and, well, stick in the back of the net. But lucky for BSC, backup keeper Stevie Barr, who was in nets, got down and made a decent save for it. It wasn't the best hit shot in the world. I think if they'd struck it properly, Barzell might have struggled to keep it out. But as it was 0-0 going into half time. The other thing of note in the first half was it turns out assistant managers can get bookings this season. Fraser Wright following on where Michael Moore left off last season, getting his first caution of the campaign, and he wasn't too chuffed about it. So into the second half, the weather came down and the ball was... pitch was quite kind of zippy as it was anyway, so it suited both teams the way they were playing. But there was an early goal, and it was an absolute belter of a goal. It was Jamie Hamilton scoring his first goal for BSC. First goal ever for the... I think it's his first ever professional goal, full stop. But 25 yards out, ball broke to him, and he smashed it into the top corner without a thought, right past Blair Carswell. Gave the keeper absolutely no chance whatsoever. Brilliant goal. And from there, to be honest, BSC kind of took control of the game at that point. Again, there wasn't too much in the way of chances. It was still kind of nice passing play up to a point. on the hour mark, Spartans started throwing more bodies forward and making really attacking changes. Jack Smith came on for Aaron Morrell. A couple other interesting switches as well. They went down to one centre-back, threw on an extra midfielder. And the thing that really cost them, to be honest, was they didn't have a kind of target man type up front. Like, they had two guys who, and then a third in Jack Smith, who are quite pacey, quite skillful. But when you were up against Jordan Marshall and Ross Smith at BSC centre halves, any balls in were just getting repelled at this point. So they started mixing it up a bit and try to use pace down the flanks. And yeah, to be honest with you, there weren't too many other chances until the last 10 minutes. So BSC were now threatening on a counter-attack. Tam Orr managed to get through from a Robbie McNabb through ball on the counter. Had a chance for a tight angle, beat the keeper, but he also dragged it wide. And that was a sign of things to come, because 5 minutes left in the clock. Spartans thrown everyone forward. Clearance came out. Tam managed to beat the defender to the ball, raced through, lobbed Carswell, and made sure by rounding the keeper and being there just to tap it in at the very end. 2-0 BSC. You'd think that should be the game done, but it wasn't. So here's a controversy. So straight into added time, penalty to Spartans. This one, I've heard two sides of the coin on it. Spartans are very adamant that it was a penalty, and they scored it ultimately. It was a great finish, by the way, by Dean Hoskins, a brilliant penalty. I wasn't convinced from where I was in the stand, but I didn't have a fantastic view yet. Tom, who was sitting beside me, wasn't convinced either. He thought Jack Smith had gone down a wee bit easily, but ultimately, if there's contact and he's gone down, he's got the right to go down. Then the big flashpoint. In the very last action of the game, throw-in from Spartans, Jamie Mills goes to try and clear it and ends up kicking the backside of a Spartan striker. For some reason, the referee didn't see it, and it was an absolute stonewall penalty. Like, I can't tell you how stonewall it was. But obviously, things got a bit tousy, and there was a couple of bookings given for dissent and so on. The linesman put his flag up. I thought he was actually going to tell the ref to give the penalty, but instead he was just telling him which Spartans player to book. I don't understand how he missed it. I genuinely don't get it, because it was as clear as day to me in the stand, and pretty much everyone else. But the balance of things, BSC, I think we're the better team over the 90. Spartans will feel aggrieved they've not got a draw out of it ultimately, but it's a great start for BSC, given that that's 4 points off for two really tough games. And that, I don't know, it might kind of spur Spartans on to really give somebody a doing, to be honest, in the next couple of weeks, because they were incensed about it. And when you look at the incident, if there is any video going about for it, I just think the referee's made an absolute hash of it, to be honest. I just don't know how he's missed it. But yeah, it was an eventful game, and after quite a quiet first half, certainly lived up to his billing in the second half.
It's a really good start for BSC there, 4 points off of two really good oppositions. And you know what, they've got another task, a big task on their hands coming up on Friday, where they're going to play their third game in 6 days, and they're travelling along to see Cumbernauld. So if they can go away with 7 points, even 5 points for those 3 games, that'll be, a start that they'll not be able to complain about. Spartans are a team that we've had some disagreement between ourselves, me, yourself, and Chris, about how this season's going to go for them, because they've not been perhaps as active, but they've had a really good youth system. They've been able to bring some under-20s up. How did they look? What kind of sense did you get for the season ahead for Spartans?
To be honest, the only thing they were lacking was a physical presence up front. Other than that, it's the same or better than you've seen in previous years that they've got there. And they've obviously got Dougie, who is arguably the best tactician in the league as well in the managing side of things. But they missed a Stephen McDonald. It was just, they were crying out for a physical presence up front, especially as the game wore on and BSC were quite comfortable sitting in defence with the big lads at the back there, just clean balls away. Every so often there was a second ball would ricochet and give them a chance of getting a shot, but it's all 18 to 20 yard stuff. You need a bit of luck with those. They didn't have somebody who could impose themselves to get on the end of cross balls when they were there for them. There was great wing back play going on from the likes of Hoskins. I do feel that they need to bring in somebody that's not necessarily a big beanpole target man, but somebody that's got a bit of height and a bit of strength who can challenge for the ball in the air and hold their own and hold up the ball well, because they look a good football team, but that's not necessarily going to be enough to take you all the way to the top, I don't think.
Yeah, and BSC, they've got a brilliant relationship with the officiating in the league, so long may that last, because they've been very, very fortunate in their opening 2 games, and I think that's something we're all going to have a keen eye on for the Cumbernauld Colts game.
I tell you what, tell Fraser Wright that and see what his reaction is after he get booked. But with that, then we will move on to one of the kind of well-fancied teams pre-season, East Stirlingshire. This time they're playing at home to Edinburgh University. So Shire's home opener. Edinburgh Uni, against another team we struggled to place, but we've all agreed they'll be in a potential relegation battle there. If you want to run us through that one as well, Shaun.
Yeah, like you say, Shire, team with big expectations for the year ahead. They've been in the Lowland League for a few years now, and they're looking to quite openly challenge to get back up into SPFL 2. So they, like you say, welcomed Edinburgh Uni along to Falkirk Stadium. Similar to the Braves Gretna game, it was a relatively quiet half an hour to open up. Their Twitter advertising the fact that they had the game on live all across Europe and the rest of the world again, which was brilliant. It took 36 minutes for the ball to see the back of the net for the first time, and it was from a set piece, so a delightful corner from Mark Miller was able to find Bobby Barr on the penalty spot, and Barr was able to volley it high up into the net to make it 1-0 to Shire. It went into half time 1-0 with Shire playing some pretty good football. The highlights will obviously be up on Shire TV shortly for anybody who wants to go back and watch that. So the second half was underway with Shire up 1-0, and it didn't take too long. It's on the 54th minute. Mark Miller was involved for the second, this time rifling home from the edge of the box. The ball had dropped him and everyone had claimed for a penalty, but Mark was able to volley home low and hard and into the corner to make it 2-0 to Shire. The next goal for Shire came, well, the next two actually came in quick succession, and it was a pair of headers. In the 72nd minute, it was Jamie Dishington who was able to get his first for East Stirlingshire, followed a minute later by Nicky Lowe. Well, the big man managed to get a header. He put up on Twitter, he said he was delighted. I think he also put that he thought football was perhaps dead now that he was scoring headers. But his header was the fourth for Shire. Both teams were able to play out the last 15 minutes. Both teams having their chances, but essentially that was the game put to bed at 4-0. So Barr, Miller, Dishington and Lowe with goals, and one of the talking points that I think is worth highlighting is Shire managed to put 3 of the goals away from set pieces. I think it was Chris that pointed that out after seeing some of the goals. They've got some experienced guys in their team now, and that your set pieces is sometimes where that experience can really give you a bit of an advantage. 4-0 at home against an Edinburgh University side. Do you think that's a okay result, a good result?
If you score 4 goals, you can't say it's a bad result, can you? I guess people might expect a wee bit more of them, but it is early days, they're still gelling. Mm-hmm. I'd mentioned after the first game against BSC that Shire are going to be a threat for set pieces this season, and so it's proven there. I know it's Jordan Tappen again got man of the match, so he's clearly hit the ground running. That's 2 games in a row that he's been voted Shire's man of the match. But it seemed a wee bit kind of huff and puff until they got the first goal, didn't it? And then the floodgates kind of opened after that. Uni's resistance crumbled a wee bit. They were doing well until basically conceding, and then that was the end of that basically. I don't know, it's a tough one. I've seen a mixture of opinions for Shire fans in this game, that obviously they're delighted to get the first 3 points, get the win, but feeling that there's still more to come for the squad, especially with an eye on the likes of how Kelty have started, and I understand that. But yeah, I think they'll be happy enough with that, and it's a tricky midweek tie potentially. They've not negotiated it fine. They'll move on to the weekend, and the squad will be delighted with a pretty decent win. But the flip side of that, what are your feelings on Edinburgh Uni at this point?
We all kind of pointed this out beforehand, that one of the teams that we were perhaps a little bit more worried about. And do you know what? They made a predictable start. You know, they've conceded 10 goals and scored none. I don't know if that's maybe a little bit harsh. Perhaps, you know, we maybe expected it to be a little bit closer, but we definitely said we thought it was going to be tough. And it's no disrespect to anybody at Edinburgh University, the organisation, the manager, or the gaffer, any of the players, but the league's getting more competitive, and your university sides, you know, it's only going to get harder every year that the league gets more competitive. So it's definitely no disrespect to those guys, but you know, and they played against Caledonian Braves in that first game, who have been a bit of a surprise team. That, you know, they went up against Gretna there just now, and with 10 men were able to still pull off the win. And then they've played against Shire, who have invested heavily. So do you know what, when they play against your Dalbeatties, Galas, Vale, Stirling Uni, you know, they could. There's no reason why they won't be able to string some wins and a few draws together to keep them out of the relegation battle. It's early doors. It's probably, I'm probably being a bit harsh because they played against two very good sides. So
yeah, I suspect they'll be delighted when September comes if they can find a wee gem or two in the football trials as well. But just before we get to the final game, there was a penultimate game. We don't have too much information on it, and I'm going to blame Churchy for it because he was tweeting for civil service Strollers at home to Stirling Uni, the other uni side. This one ended 1-0 to Civil, and pretty much all I have to tell you about it is that it was Andy Mayer, who I believe Churchy titled Angry Mayer, managed to get the tap in off a rebound from an Alu shot. Other than that, not too much happened other than Josh Morris getting called out for a £1 fine after getting nutmegged, and Churchy basically putting his thoughts out, saying that he hoped the students would have more luck in dusk than they did in the game scoring. Dusk, for those of you who don't know, being a Stirling night spot. So, any thoughts on those two? I think that was kind of a predictable result. What we all thought was going to happen.
Stirling Uni, you know, they've proved a wee bit stronger towards the end of last season, so we're perhaps giving them a bit more credit in the pre-season than we did Edinburgh University. But you know, they've still got a tough gig. They're in the same boat, and to be able to have came out of that game and only conceded the one goal, it's not a bad result. And as for Gary and the Civil team, you know, they picked up the 3 points, and that's the most important thing. This is a game that I haven't actually managed to catch up much on. I haven't had a look through the Twitter feed yet, so I suppose I'm looking forward to doing that, looking forward to highlights coming out, and I'm looking to find out who was wearing Kyle Fee's boots as well, because perhaps that's why there was a lack of goals this week. I don't know if anybody's highlighted that, but you know, if nobody was wearing them, then you know, maybe that's where they went wrong.
Maybe Kyle had them back on, maybe that's the explanation. I think there's some pictures, and no doubt there'll be some highlights to follow as well. We know Strollers tend to be quite good to get kind of video content out as well. But that brings us into the final game in the midweek slate, and that was for our reigning champs to make their debut of the season as well. Dalbeattie start playing host to East Kilbride, and before the game you'd have probably found it pretty tough to get anyone that would have predicted anything other than a Kilby one for this one. However, they didn't have it all their own way, so they managed to line up pretty strong. They put Craig Malcolm back in the squad, so he's back for injury, up front alongside Rory Payton, which is quite an eye-opening front line for this level especially. Not a lot happened until kind of the half-hour mark in this one. Rory Payton managed to get in behind and managed to slot the ball home, but the linesman had his flag up. according to the East Kilbride Twitter, looked quite tight. But just a few minutes later, same thing happened. Peyton got released, but this time out in the wing. He drove down the line, cut it back to Craig Malcolm, and he does what he does best. Slots it home. Great link up between the two of them. 1-0 Kilby going into half time. And you probably feared the worst for Star at that point. But by all accounts, they played really well, actually. Star actually got a penalty. David Brownlee pulled down the Star striker when he basically was clean through. When Dalbeattie took it though, Alan Martin made an excellent save and managed to parry it away as well. So not only did he stop the initial shot, he stopped anyone else getting a rebound as well. And from there, just kind of with a couple of minutes left, it was just about at injury time, Kilby managed to seal the win. Woods won a free kick about 25 yards out. Rory Payton stepped up and put an absolute howitzer into the top corner. So that was 2-0. Payton having a very, very good start with Kilby in his league debut there. But yeah, interesting that they've came up with the 3 points, but it was a much tougher test than you did maybe initially I thought against Dalbeattie.
Yeah, I think we all spoke about how we actually had some high hopes for Dalbeattie during the pre-season, and then they've obviously went out, they played Kelty, and it was a bit of a thumping, and perhaps, we all went away and sort of reassessed, maybe we were a wee bit quick off the mark, but I think this was a really good game for Dalbeattie, to be honest, which seems a bit daft to say off of the back of them getting beat 2-0, but it was against East Kilbride, defending champions. Do you know what? It could quite easily have finished 1-1. They could have easily nicked a point. Not many teams did last year. I've written a wee piece for Catchup website when it goes live. I've picked up some players to watch, and I've gone, I've looked into Dalbeattie and I don't look through some of their players because I think there's a few gems in there. And with say Dean Brotherston, he was the one that I kind of picked out for the article. I think that Dalbeattie team's going to be quite a strong team moving forward. To nearly pinch a draw, it's not bad going. Like, as far as the East Kilbride side of things go, it looks like they have perhaps got the steal of the pre-season in signing Alan Martin, because he's been on fire through the Betfred and also their opening game here. It seems like he's definitely kept him in it. Well, he saved a penalty. You can't ask for much more than that for your keeper. But I think, I don't know. I think it's hard to say it's a good result for Dalbeattie, but I think they'll be quite happy that they've gone out and they've only been beaten by a couple, and it could quite easily have been 1-1. Maybe kicking themselves that they didn't take a point away, but I think there's a lot still to come from this Dalbeattie side.
Yeah, it could well have been a different game if they managed to score that penalty with 15 left on the clock, couldn't it? But as you say, I think they've got a couple of good players in that squad. They've also got Lewis Sloan still there as well, who's a great creative midfielder. As you say, Dean Brotherston is more than capable of sticking the ball in the net, and not just that, he's not just a goal scorer, he contributes to attacking moves. He's kind of all round as a front man as well. But kind of Kilby's point of view, they'll be happy enough to get off to a winning start again, especially with the way Kelty have get started. I actually think Rory Payton might be a brilliant sign for them as well. He's clearly had an initial impact there, and one of the things that we brought up in the pre-season was that he needed something up front, a wee bit of pace, and to take the top off of defences, and he might well be the one that gives them that, as well as being more than capable of sticking the ball in the net as well. So interesting times to see how that develops as they basically look to retain their title and get up to League 2, as with about 8 or 9 sides in the league as well, right enough. But so that rounds us off for the midweek slate. Obviously, if you guys have got any thoughts of your own or anything you feel we've missed that we should have picked up, feel free to tweet at official Catchup. You'll find us on Facebook, official Catchup as well. Just let us know what your thoughts are, or if you get any predictions that we might not have touched on as well. And we'll kind of round them off at the weekend, any feedback we get as well. But that quite neatly brings us into a preview of the weekend's football. So, as you've mentioned already, Shaun, we start off on Friday night. Cumbernauld Colts playing host to BSC Glasgow. because I'm maybe slightly biased on this one, I'll let you kind of have your thoughts firstly.
Do you know what I think for a Friday night fixture this early on, it's going to be a good test for both sides. I wouldn't say it's going to be an easy game for BSC. I don't think they're going to see the same refereeing blunders that have happened in the first two games. Not that that's gone one way or the other, because I think it's in all fairness, when the refereeing side of things goes a bit wrong, it could quite easily go against BSC as well. So to see those two games already out of the way, I don't think there's going to be as much or that hoorah happening during this game. It'll be interesting to see how BSC do fare, having the 3 games in the 6-day window. Cumbernauld, they were rested midweek as well. They're playing at home, and they can be quite deadly at home. They've not got a bad team, and they were able to quite comfortably beat a Gala side that we've maybe discovered a little bit midweek that they're not going to be a walkover. So you've got to kind of give Cumbernauld a little bit more credit for that 3-0 away win on the opening day of the season. It's hard to say that BSC will not pick up the 3 points. So this is a side that went 18 games unbeaten last season, and I do think they will lose some games this season, absolutely, but I don't think this will be one of them. But if Colts were ever to get a chance, this is it. They're going against a BSC side that's travelling, 3rd game in 6 days. A wee bit of frustration in the first couple of games, but yeah, I think BSC will still be strong enough and good enough to take the 3 points. So I suppose over to you, who do you think is going to win this one, Moza?
I do think BSC are favourites, but I think, all things considered, I don't think a draw would be a bad result either for them. As you say, with the games piling up and so on, don't let Swifty hear you say that though, because he'll want 3 points. You know what he's like, just driven to win everything. It's kind of a hard one without seeing Cumbernauld this year. They've got a relatively settled squad. They've still got good players in there. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes, to be honest. I'm not going expecting 3 points, but I wouldn't expect a loss either, if that makes sense. So a draw or a BSC win would be my prediction there.
Do you not think, just with how competitive the season is this year, although there is that tight squeeze of games for BSC, do you not think it's perhaps one that they do need to win?
Absolutely. Yeah, if they've got ambitions of winning the league, that's the kind of game you have to get 3 points for, definitely. But the thing is, other teams will slip up in similar games as well. So it'll all balance out at the end of the season, no doubt. If you ask Stephen Swift just now what his aim will be, he will tell you win the league. So he'll be going into it with that mindset, as will the players, I can guarantee you that much. Just kind of me putting my, I suppose, slightly pessimistic hat on there, saying a draw wouldn't necessarily be a bad result. I would still be disappointed with it, don't get me wrong, but I would take it, if that makes sense. Other than that, we'll rattle through the rest as well, and then we will finish off with the game of the week for the catch-up this weekend. So, Berwick Rangers at home to University of Stirling. Berwick looking to get onto the winning trail.
Yeah, you would think so, because I suppose they need that a little bit. We spoke about that monkey on their back when they were unable to find the back of the net. They were able to do that against Bonnyrigg in their home opener, but frustratingly still went away 5-3 losers in that one. So they need a win in this game, and I think they're going to have the passion to do that. And if they can get the win, I'm quite interested to see how they can play and how they can build the momentum off of that. And there's no better time to do that than playing a uni side on the 3rd of August. They've got a real chance there. And as for University, I don't think I'm writing them off. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take all 3 points or even a draw, but I think I'm going to side with Berwick to get a much needed win in this one.
I think I'm going to plump for a draw here, because University of Stirling going away to Civil, putting a decent performance in, only losing 1-0 in the end, maybe disappointed not to get something. At this moment in time, Civil are a proven outfit in this league. Berwick aren't with the squad they've got. However, you've got to give them a bit of respect for they've got guys that can clearly do a job at this level. I'm going to plump for the draw and sit on the fence with that one, I think. I've just got a wee bit of faith in Chris being able to organise them going down to the borders. But they following that up with Civil Service Strollers, just mentioned them, at home to Bonnyrigg Rose. So a really interesting game there.
I think this was the other one that was sort of a contender for game of the week, because these are two sides that they're quite similar. Not necessarily how they're built, to be honest, because I think they're very different teams, but where we're kind of expecting them to be challenging in the league, I think they're gonna be pretty close all season long. So it's definitely interesting, or it's going to be interesting to see who can score the goals in this one. I think, in all honesty, I'd give Rose the edge because I think they do a better job of finding the back of the net. Civil are a team that, you know, tend to win with a couple of goals by a sort of small margin. Bonnyrigg, they can score goals. They've shown that all of last season, and they've done it already this season. But I'm gonna go for the draw as well. I think it'll be a really tight affair. I can see it being 1-1, maybe 2-2, and yeah, I think it'll be a draw.
I'm going to go with the Rose in this one. I think it would be a real statement of intent if they get 3 points here, and I'm going to back them to do it. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a draw, I'll be honest, but I just feel with the momentum, and there's a great feeling around the club, positivity there. I just fancy them to go and kind of raise some eyebrows there, to be honest. And probably won't raise eyebrows amongst their own support. They'll be expecting a win, but I do think around the league, including ourselves, we're still not quite sure what to make of them yet. So we'll see how that goes, obviously. And then Dalbeattie at home again. Islecroft, this time they're welcoming Gala, and then a bit of regional kind of rivalry going on. We'll go with the Borders word. But yeah, that's a really interesting one as well. Gala coming off such a good result, but they're travelling again. Dalbeattie almost proven equally Kilbride. So I think I'm going to plump for the draw there, but Moria, if one team's going to take it, I'd maybe go Gala. What do you reckon?
Quite similar yourself. I think this is an absolute crackery a match, to be honest. Between two sides that, I mean, well, Dalbeattie have kicked it off with, you know, conceding 10 and scoring none. However, I'm still quite hopeful that they're gonna be able to kick on, and this will be the game that they perhaps do that. And likewise for Gala, we've seen that they're not going to be a pushover this season. I'm similar to yourself. I think, you know, two quite evenly matched sides. However, I'm going to edge with Dalbeattie and go the other way from where you've gone. And yeah, I think Dalbeattie are going to pinch this one. I think they'll get 3 points. I think there'll be a lot of goals in this one as well.
Bold prediction of the week. There we go. East Stirlingshire playing host to Gretna. I suspect we're probably going to both go with the same prediction in this one. Shire to win?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel bad for Gretna, but Shire are just going to be too strong for a Gretna side that have already, you know, shown a wee bit of weakness in their opening couple of games. I'm hoping Gretna do gel and they can start stringing a few games together, but I don't see this being the one. I think this is going to be similar to Kelty Dalbeattie at the beginning of the season. Shire are going to dominate quite handsomely in this one, I think. Yeah,
I'm going to go with the same. I think there's a long old journey again. 2 long journeys in a week for Gretna. It's not ideal for them, but especially not ideal when you're going to face one of the fancy teams in the league. Maybe a kind of couple of goals to the better, I'd imagine East Stirlingshire to come through that. And then Spartans again at home. This time again a bit of a local derby. Edinburgh University heading along to Ainslie Park. What are your thoughts there?
I think most teams we're gonna go with a home win when it's at Ainslie Park. There's very few people I think you would back to go to Ainslie Park and take points from Spartans. We've just saw BSC do it, but I think BSC are a really good team. I think Edinburgh University, we've maybe slated them a little bit too much, to be honest, and I feel quite bad to say much more, but I think it's a tough game for Edinburgh University. They'll be looking to go out there, put in a good performance, similar to what Dalbeattie did at K Park, I would imagine, but I think comfortably. Not necessarily by a huge scoreline, but I think Spartans should be able to win this game.
See, I think it will be a big scoreline. I alluded to it earlier that there could be a team in the end of a thrashing after the way Spartans felt midweek. I suspect this is it. And it's no ideal for Edinburgh Uni at the start of the season where, let's be honest, a wee bit of a patched up squad waiting for reinforcements to come in. But yeah, I fancy Spartans to get a good few goals in that one, I think, and take it relatively easily. But BSC have given a bit of a blueprint there that if you can force them to kind of get away from their main plan, which is good football, passing it through, they don't really have that aerial presence here potentially, so we'll see how it goes. And then we've got 2 other games. Firstly, Vale of Leithen, licking our wounds a wee bit, and it doesn't get any easier because they're at home to Kilbride, East Kilbride. And I'm assuming an away win is what you're looking at there, Shaun.
I could get slated for this, but it wouldn't surprise me. Just the way East Kilbride, they're not knocking in a lot of goals. They've got a fair bit to go to get down to Vale of Leithen. It's a long trip for them to get down there. Vale are playing at home. It's a big game for those guys. I'm going to go East Kilbride.
I genuinely thought you were going to say Vale there.
No, I'm not daft, but do you know what? I don't think I'd be as surprised as a lot of people if Vale were able to pinch a point. I think if they want to pinch a point, no, they're going to have to do it by, playing some strong defensive football, because Alan Martin's, shown that he's not going to concede too many this year. So I can't see Vale even scoring many, but if they can keep East Kilbride at bay, they could steal I could see them stealing a point, which is, I suppose you said, bold prediction early on. I think this would be a bold prediction, but no, I'd say East Kilbride, they should go down there, should do the business, and they should come away with 3 points.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as bold as in a home win, right enough. I think I'll side with East Kilbride. I just think, especially after a really decent Betfred campaign where they still had a shot at going through the groups at the last day, they've proven it against the bigger sides. They've started off with a potential banana skin. They managed to navigate it. I would be very surprised if Kilby didn't win that with a few goals as well. Not taking anything for Vale of Leithen. We have already said we think their squad's better, but the league itself's improved. So it will all come down to if they've improved enough to stay above that relegation battle, or if they're going to get dragged into it, I think, this season. And we'll finish off with the catch-up game of, well, we should say the weekend rather than the week, I guess. And it's going to be Caledonian Braves' second home game of their time at Alliance Park. And they're playing home to Kelty Hearts, who are pretty much the favourites at this point for the title, if you look at the bookies. So, really impressive start for Kelty at home to Dalbeattie. Cali Braves, obviously a very impressive midweek result down to 10 men. It's quite a tough one to call that. Oh, I think most people would side with Kelty, but you genuinely wouldn't be surprised if Caledonian took something there, would you?
I certainly, for one, won't be. I'll be going along to that game on Saturday. I think Chris is making the trip as well. It's a strange one because I'm looking forward to the matchup, but I'm also just really looking forward to seeing both these teams in an individual sort of way. Kelty Hearts to see if they can do what they did against Dalbeattie, against a tougher opposition, because they have some really good players that played really well together in that opening game. But I also want to see with my own eyes this Caledonian Braves team that have kind of came out of nowhere, I would say, over pre-season. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them both. And to be honest, I'm going to side with Kelty and go for the Kelty win, believe it or not. However, I don't think it's as easy to call. I think Kelty could go to this game and they could just absolutely dominate because they are that good and they could put away a lot of goals. But at the same time, Caledonian Braves, I don't think I'd be surprised if they were able to cause trouble for Kelty and maybe pinch a win by a goal. Or even a point, I think, would maybe be a steal for Caledonian Braves.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. I'd side with Kelty, but I wouldn't be too overly confident in doing so. I think Cali Braves are going to surprise some people. This year they'll get some kind of eye-opening results. Maybe not even surprised at this point, because it's still early doors and people are already taking notice, including ourselves. But I'm still going to side with Kelty to win. Be very surprised if it was a big win like the first week, though, let's be honest. Maybe a kind of 1 or 2 goal narrow win, I'd say. But again, I'm really interested in... side note, I'm actually really looking forward to going to visit Alliance Park as well, because from the pictures I've seen on opening night, it looked fantastic. Great facility, so great work with everyone involved with, obviously, the original IG Sport Academy and then getting to this stage as well. But yeah, that rounds us off for this midweek session of the Lowland League Catch-Up. Getting the plugs, so we'll start off, obviously, the official Twitter at Official Catchup, and on Facebook you'll find us using the same moniker as well. For yourself, Shaun?
At Spedding Shaun, yeah, that's right, on Twitter. And what about yourself?
At Moza Plays on Twitter, and you'll find me everywhere from there, basically. It's the easiest way to sum it up.
Aye, and we better give Chris his plug as well. You can find him at Rampant FM on Twitter as well, of course.
I was about to give a wrong one there for him as well, never mind. You'd killed me. Right, listen, folks, thank you very much for listening to this little impromptu midweek session. We will be back as normal after the weekend's fixtures. Feel free to fire in some predictions to us. Give us anything else you want us to talk about, any topics, any players, anything you feel we might have missed. We're always open to any feedback you give us. And until a few days' time, we will catch you later. Thanks for listening.
Talk to you later.